For today's episode, I want to talk about living inside the box. So something that I realized most recently, and it's taken me almost 43 years to realize this, is that I actually was not meant to live inside of any box. Society trains us from a very young age to be in what they call life. And for them, life is going to school, getting good grades, leaving school, going to a college where you put yourself into debt to get an education that you get out of college and then it doesn't even pay you what you're worthy of. We're then conditioned to get married, have a house with a white picket fence, get a job, work for somebody else 9 to 5. You're lucky if you go on vacation 1 to 2 times a year, and you just repeat, rinse, and recycle, right? That's the way, at least, that I thought that I was being trained into at a very young age. I thought, oh, by the age of 25, I'll be married, I'll have kids, I'll do all the things, and everything will be honky-dory and amazing. But in actuality, none of it was great because I didn't fit into any box. I was still single at 25, actually very single at 25. There was no relationship, there was no house, there was no white picket fence. I was just trying to figure out life. And then as I got older, I tried to fit into the paradigms of everything that was around me, right? Especially when I became an author and a speaker and started playing in the world of online entrepreneurship, it was like I needed to be like everybody else. I hired coach after coach and I tried to copy and paste what they were teaching me, but it just didn't work for me. Now, some things worked for me, and the reason why those things worked for me is because I was trying to prove a point that I could be different or I could go against what they were telling me to do and the success would still come. And so what I've realized at this point in my life is that my job here is to make the impossible possible, right? When someone tells me that it can't be done, it makes me want to do it that much more. When society says do it this way, I want to do it that way. It's just like this thing inside of me that I know and understand now, and I'm fully living in this life where I'm able to be different and I'm able to be okay with that. Where for so many years I felt so guilty, I felt so ashamed that I just desperately wanted to be liked. I'm sure so many of you can relate that we live this life trying to be liked, trying to be loved, trying to fit in, but really we go home at the end of the day and we're not happy, we're sad, we feel bad about ourselves because society tells us that we're supposed to be one way. Or the PTA moms, they present themselves and we desperately want to fit in. For years, I tried to fit in with the PTA moms and it just didn't happen. They love me because I'm a doer and I'm an action taker. So anytime you ask me to be a part of something, I'm always going to get things done and I always go above and beyond. But having everyday average conversations, talking about other people, talking about average things, it's just not my thing. If I have a conversation, I want it to be deep. I want to talk about the things that nobody's talking about. I want to know the wonders of the world, right? I want to really peel back the layers of who we truly came here to be, because we're not meant to all be the same, but we're living in a society where we are trained to be the same. We put people up on pedestals, doctors, lawyers, people that we think are smarter than us because their education is greater than us. But the truth is nobody is smarter than you because you possess a skill set that nobody else has. Or even if they have it, you are able to excel in your skill set to make you the expert that you are. We all came here with an innate gift, right? One of my mentors always says this quote by Albert Einstein, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but it's so important. If you ask a fish to climb a tree, a fish will always think it's stupid, right? Something like that. I definitely butchered that. But if you think about it, a fish is never supposed to climb a tree. So we put kids into school at a very young age, and we start to train them in math and English and reading and science and all the things. And for some people, they just can't click and connect. I hated history and social studies as a kid. I despised it. Like, it was the most boring classes that I ever took. And then I went to college and I ended up graduating as a history major, right? Like, the irony in that is so profound. And now as an adult, looking at what we're living through in this life, I fully understand why I was a history major. Because if I didn't have this history background, I couldn't actually fully understand what we are living through. But the people who never paid attention in history class, they're the ones that need that lesson again now, because we are reliving history. And if you don't know history, you're going to repeat it. And if you're going to repeat history, we're going to end up in a really bad place. So it's super important to know that you were not brought here to live inside the little box. You were brought here to do big, great, big, wonderful things. And you may not have the confidence to do that now. You may not think that you're strong enough. You may not think that you're smart enough. You may not think that this is for you, that you came here to do great things because of the stories that you've created throughout your life, or the stories that other people created for you throughout your life, right? Maybe you had a mom and dad that weren't very supportive. Maybe you had teachers that put you down. Maybe you've been in a relationship where somebody is constantly telling you what you're doing wrong instead of telling you what you're doing. And that's creating these limited beliefs inside of you. But the truth is, we get to change those stories. They're just stories that we've held on to, right? Like Little Red Riding Hood. It's a story that we tell over and over again, but if you put different people in a row, they're going to tell you the story different, right? So we get to create our own story, and we get to live this life however we want, because we came here to be sovereign, free beings. We came here to accomplish our own things, and we get distracted by the shiny things that are being thrown at us, or by the trauma that we've experienced, or by the world events and what we're consuming on a daily basis. So my best suggestion to you today is turn off the TV, tune into yourself, pull out a pen and a piece of paper and start writing things down. Write down all the negative thoughts that go into your mind and start changing the story. It's up to you to create the best life ever. And I believe in you, and I believe that you can do that. Because if I could take myself from 250 pounds, single mom, living on food stamps, and I can switch that into a life of luxury, love, excitement, gratitude, abundance in every aspect of the world, you can do it too. I believe in you, I love you, and thank you for listening.